Yes, it's a spotlight time, and we're going right across to the sister isle, Tobago. And let us enjoy it from now because we don't know if secession might be in the cards
It
way
is
down the
not.
line.
It is not.
The people don't want that.
The people don't want that.
We'll just have to find out.
The people don't want that. What the people want is a farmer's market, and they get it.
They're getting that. So let's speak to the chairperson of the Farmers Market, the Farmers Wholesale Market Committee, Mr. Karen Shaw. Good morning to you, Ms. Shaw.
Good morning.
And
Thank you, Natalie.
How are you doing?
Not too bad. I want to say good morning to the viewing and listening public.
Yes.
Thank you for having me this morning on the show.
And good morning to all of Tobago, of course. So let's talk about this first time, the first Farmers Wholesale Market. Talk to us about that, the concept, who conceptualized this, and how are the people going to be able to benefit from the Farmers Wholesale Market?
Well, if I could just backtrack a little bit, the farmers have been clamoring for an avenue for a number of years for them to be able to sell their produce. So under the auspices of the Division of Food Production, Forestry and Fisheries, we have decided to create a commercial trading space that provides farmers now with an opportunity to sell their produce. And the criteria is from Tobago farms. Right? And conversely, we're also giving the public, the businesses and the entities in Tobago, the opportunity to access high quality, safe and competitively priced local food produced on Tobago farms. So that is the basic concept of the project. And we are hoping that this initiative would lead to increased food production in Tobago. It will reduce what we consider our import bill, because anything that comes out, whether from Trinidad or from abroad or overseas, we consider it import, which stands at the last time we collated about $500 million annually. So we want to make a dent into that. We want to have a situation where that we increase the availability and food security, the quality of food that is available for the population in Tobago. We want to drive some economic growth in the agricultural sector by providing an avenue for farmers to sell their produce.
So are there in the market, is it that only things produced and grown in Tobago will be in the market?
At the initial stage, as we are opening, this is what we are looking for, because really we want to drive local production. Because, you know, any country that is able to have a stability in its food supply and have a measure of security, or as well for their population. So we want to have that economic driver where we circulate the income that is coming in here. We don't want everything just as we buy and purchase in Tobago, everything goes back to Trinidad or even overseas. We want to keep the money circulating here. So in the initial stages of the project, we would like to have farmers in Tobago, and when I say farmers, anybody who is operating on a Tobago farm is able to now come in, register into the program, and be able to sell.
So how do they get to register into the program? Let's talk about that process.
All right. So as I said before, the criteria to be able to start to register is that you have to be producing on a Tobago farm, right? Farmers could be from anywhere, so long as you are producing on a Tobago farm. Registration now would take place. We have an online application form, a registration form on our Facebook, the division's Facebook. We also have 3 points at the Scarborough Market at Wilson Road. That's the retail market. There's an office there that you can register. You can register the marketing department, and you can also register the head office of the division, which is at the corner of Sherburne and Milford Road. So we have 3 physical points, and we have an online platform that you can register on. The registration now would allow us, and we want registration for both farmers who are selling and also for producers, not producers, purchasers or buyers who are interested in buying into the wholesale market. So from a perspective of registration for the farmers, it would allow us, one, to be able to determine who are the farmers on the ground, and now with our extension services, we can now apply a suite of services and incentives towards these farmers to have them planting. we've been able to now to get them into some measure of production planning in coordination with what the purchasers may suggest to us or give us an idea of what are the volumes and the requirements that they need for their businesses and the entities. And we'll be able to do better production planning. So when we bring the offering to the wholesale market, there's a wide variety of consistent volumes and supply of commodities that when the purchasers come, they have a nice one-stop experience.
And where will the wholesale be operating from? What location will we see this wholesale operating from?
Well, Natalie, it will be operating at the old temporary market site at Shoka. We are currently modifying the facility to accept wholesaling activities so that persons may also be able to vend off the back of vehicles, which is also a feature of wholesaling. So we are doing some modification there. We're also looking at the hours, and these are what we're proposing at this stage, from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. given the curfew is used. And we are in the process of collaborating with our stakeholders. So if we have to tweak the times, the days will be Tuesday to Thursday, 3 days we're looking at.
Sorry, repeat what days the market will be open?
Every week from Tuesdays to Thursdays. So it's 3 days a week we're looking at for the wholesale market.
And not on the weekends? Why not on the weekends?
Because, remember, we want to distinguish between wholesaling and retailing. So, for instance, one of our major buyers that we expected to facilitate and support the market would be our vendors in the retail market, which normally Sundays. So we don't want a clash. We don't want to have a situation where we have two markets. We want one that is wholesale and one that is retail. So we have that segregation and separation.
No, I also know that for a lot of retailers, is that they want fresh produce on the weekend so that they can have the best to offer to their customers. So I thought there would have been a closer correlation, between when they buy and when they're going back to sell.
Well, as I said, it's something that we are still tweaking in terms of the times, but I know at least when in the past when you try to do wholesaling, you tend to more have it in the midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, so that the vendors and them could stock up. Remember that we also have a vending population that travels to Trinidad regularly to stock up on their items. So you have to balance that with what they may be able to access at the farmers' wholesale market here in Tobago and what they may need to go to Trinidad to top up.
Right.
So we need to balance that a bit in terms of that and the freshness.
Right. So when are we starting? When are we starting? Today is a Thursday. So is it next week?
Well, no, because we want to ensure that we start with a certain measure of volumes and quantities. We have tentatively set up the first date at the end of August. So this is really now where we are trying to bring the awareness and the sensitization both to the farming, producing community and that of the purchasers that we would be supporting the venture.
Right, so you're trying to get people to come in at this point and register. As you said, the registration will give the division and the ability to see how many farmers they have, and not only that, but what they also produce. Because what if you have 200 people doing, potatoes and only 10 people doing tomatoes? And that will give you an idea of how you need to balance this off. But is it that the division is going to try to get farmers, if they realize that there are surpluses in some areas and deficits in others, to kind of invest in those areas where you need more?
Yes, because there's where the production planning would come in, as I mentioned earlier. Because we have registered you are into the extension program, and because we basically are broken up into 8 districts, we can now work with the associations, the farmers, to create a production schedule that will allow us to have a wide variety of commodities available in the offering at the wholesale market. It will also be able to give us a bit of traceability, because we want to ensure that the goods from Tobago farms is what filters through the market. So we know who has what on the ground, what time they would be harvesting, when it would be available for sale, so we can monitor and control the system that way. So we don't have things slipping in and anything.
Ms. Shaw, what is it that the farmers need to register? We spoke about where they can register. At the division's head office, can go on Facebook. on the division's page and get the information to download on the website, that kind of thing. But what is it that they need to be able to register?
Basically, so long as you are operating on a Tobago farm, that we can verify your production is on a Tobago farm, because if you are farming or planting, you will be considered a farmer. So as long as you have produce and you can sell at the volumes that are required for the wholesale market, whether you are a small farmer or a large farmer, we will not discriminate. We just want people to support it.
What you need ID. How are you going to verify?
Oh, you mean that's well, of course, you must be able to verify yourself in terms of ID. But some farmers are also registered officially with division, so your registration card would be an asset. Right. But basically, that is it. And what will happen now? You will go into the extension program, and the verification of your operations and your farming situation will then be dealt with.
Okay. Well, I'm very happy to hear that, and let's hope that the farmers will come out and, you know, get registered. But are there any incentives? Because how would it benefit me as a farmer to be a part of this, you know, wholesale market initiative?
Well, one, it would allow you to access markets a lot easier, so it redounds to your profit margin. So that would be one direct benefit immediately. It means that in terms of incentives to help you in production, because we now have you in a narrowed program in terms of the division, in terms of the farmers wholesale market. As I mentioned before, you would be attached to an extension officer, and then a suite of programs of assistance would be given. We'd be able to monitor your agronomy and your post-harvest management to reduce your losses. We'll be also told, because there's a national incentive program that you'll be able to access, that you will get assistance in terms of rebates and a number of expenditure that you would incur in terms of your operations. So being in the program would also assist you in helping you with your production costs and so forth. It would also help you in terms of your management of your farm. And as I said before, for the purposes of us, we will be also collecting data and information, so also helping the database for us to plan better for our farmers, and we will have that traceability. It would ensure that the purchasers who are coming there would be assured that these are things coming from Tobago farms with a high quality and a level of safety, because it's known that Tobago production is not filled with a lot of chemicals that will have the residual effect that, you know, affects your health.
So in other words, is it that once this wholesale farmers market is up and running, that the division is actually going to be visiting these farms to kind of ensure that, you know, certain things are being done on them? Are you going to be monitoring the farms going forward?
Yes, we are. So that we, as I said, we must at least ensure the traceability of what is on the ground. We must know that what is produced. If a farmer has melons and pumpkins, he's going to be able to sell melon and pumpkins in the market. He won't be able to sell other items that may come from elsewhere and will not really help or lead to what we're trying to achieve in terms of bringing up the production on Tobago farms. So that is why that assistance and that coordination is required on the ground.
Now, what about those who aren't into farming and listening to this and might want to get involved? Are there avenues for those who want to get involved to join, you know, this whole initiative?
Yes, we are not, as I said, we're not discriminating. We want producers. So if I don't say the farmers, we need producers. So whether you are a household person with a fairly sizable plot in your backyard and you want to get into production, come in and register. Once you register, we will have you on the system. We can advise you in terms of your production planning, what is needed, what is lacking in terms of the variety and commodities that are available for sale, and we can get you going. So as I said, we're not discriminating. So long as you're producing on a farm or a holding in Tobago, you can register for the program.
Right. And are we just looking at farming items, or as you said, are you looking at, you know, things produced in Tobago to be a part of that wholesale farmers market?
Well, as I said, we are doing it in phases. In the first phases, we're looking at fruits and vegetables, root crops, and those kinds of items.
Right.
In the second phase, now we would want to expand into like our agro-processors, probably into the meat industry in terms of wholesaling. And further down the line, we may look at other items that we can add to the menu list in terms of our offering.
Right. Well, I think that's definitely commendable, and I am looking forward to, the division kind of getting, as you said, being able to kind of put things into perspective about, what they have in Tobago, how many farmers they have, and what kind of things they are growing, so that they can expand that. But have the division identified lands, that they want to use if there are areas that they need to expand into in terms of provision or fruits and vegetables, that kind of thing?
Well, we do have a program for land distribution for agriculture as a wider THA body. There is a program available where persons can apply for lands that they require to do farming on. And furthermore, we would have tried as this committee to have discussions with our land management section to kind of see that farmers who are in this program would be better placed or better poised to be able to access the lands, whether on a temporary basis by a letter of comfort or so, to be able to produce. So we are hoping that, as I said before, once you register into the program, you are bona fide, that you are planting or willing to plant, come in and register. We will be able now to be able to better assist you in getting your production going, getting an idea of what is best to plant and the sites that you have to plant at and so forth. So once you register, we need you to come in and register, both the producers and both the buyers, because the buyers will now give us an idea as to what is required in terms of the offering, right? Even though the economy is sluggish now, things are opening up slowly, but we expect that we don't want to live in this state. We have to move forward. So we are hoping that things pick up, it opens up, and business starts to spin, and we turn that economic activity in Tobago, and we try and keep some of the money here to circulate. It mustn't just jump on the boat or the plane or the banks and go to Trinidad. Basically.
Right. And I remember you mentioned that 500 million is, what is spent on just getting food into Tobago. So hopefully, you can get that figure down as time progresses.
Yes, we do. So I just want to make a plug again to encourage persons to support the venture. It would redound to benefit of everyone. We want to eat healthy. We want to drive those economic growth in that, lower income bracket, because farming is really in that income bracket. And that will spend that money in the economy for us to get things done for everyone. So it's a support system that supports everyone. So I want to encourage the purchasers, whether our vendors, the hospitality sector, the various institutions like the hospitals, and so to come out and buy and support. And if you register, we now be able to sort of fine tune to your needs a little better. Mm-hmm. So we are in conversation and with the stakeholders to see how best we can make the offering suitable to everyone.
Right. All right, Michelle, I want to thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. Please remind us of where, as you said, the people can go to register. And
so as I said, on the Division of Food Production, Forestry and Fisheries Facebook page, there is a link that you can register online and even make your suggestions. We have the Scarborough Market Office, which is located at the Scarborough Market at Wilson Road. We have the Marketing Department, which is located at Shaw Park. The numbers are 639-5091 or 2428. And we have the divisional headquarters, which is at the corner of Sherburne and Milford Road. And those numbers are 639-1966 and 2234.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to this wholesale farmers market, getting off the ground. And you say you're looking to start in August. So for all the people who are interested, go out and register. Register. Whether you are, a planter, a buyer, just register for this wholesale farmers market. And let's, as she said, get the money circulating in Tobago. Michelle, thank you so much.
Right. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. Karen Shaw there, chairperson of the Farmers Wholesale Market Committee, talking to us about this wholesale farmers market that they're going to be having.